And I'd like to, just since it's the beginning of this talk, and I know many of you have not been on an IEEE Humanitarian Technologies Board talk before, a webinar of this type before, I just want to give you a little bit of a background about what we've been doing and what we're planning to do. So these are some of the talks for this year. I'm sorry, I will have to share these with everyone, but I'll read it to you. The first one we had was with Larry Nelson, who's a principal engineer, discussing protection engineering at the National Grid, which provides electricity, power supply. We had a talk by Nathan Clark and Amanda D.L. Dillon, who have the adaptive designs for accessibility. They have a standard for the interface for the blind. And that was the first standard that came out of our DITA group, which was part of our site group. And we're very, very excited that we've managed to have such progress from our special interest group for humanitarian technologies, that this site group developed ideas to the point where there's now a standard project going on. We're very excited about that. So the next talk we are having tonight, which is Dr. Razik Yaqub, Associate Professor of the Alabama A&M Graduate School. His topics in adaptive designs for accessibility include wireless shifting mounts for Handcycles and Trikes and PTSD detection device. The next talk soon will be Dr. Martha Rai. She's from Heriot-Watt University, and she will be speaking about assistive care and hearing aids. On November 14th, we have Dr. Shakik Johnson speaking about the SHARES, which is high frequency communication emergency system and methods. On December 12th, we have Dr. Thomas Willis, who's going to speak about electromagnetic compatibility, medical devices, and human safety. For some reason, this list is not the one I thought I was presenting. I want to supplement this list with October 10th, when we will be receiving a presentation by Dr. Paula Mueller about usability for all. It's going to be about the topic that Sunish has presented to us, which is born accessible. So hopefully Sunish and Dr. Mueller will speak at the same time on the 10th. I have not confirmed that with Sunish. What do you think? Are you available that day?
Which day? Which date you're talking about?
October 10th at 7:30 p.m. Is that a good time for you?
I might be. I know I'm traveling that week, but if I put my calendar in advance, I'm still kind of shuffling between a lot of calendaring things going on right now. So
so
yeah, I will know more closer to time.
Excellent.
Yeah,
so when this gets confirmed, you'll receive, everyone here on this voice will receive an e-notice, I'm sure. So once it gets confirmed, it'll go into vTools and people will receive an e-notice. And in addition, we have on November, so Dr. Johnson is moving his SHARES talk to the 16th of November. And on the 14th, we're going to have a presentation by Rebecca Mercuri. Dr. Rebecca Mercuri is going to speak to us about ham radio and how ham radio helps in emergencies, as well as providing independence for people who have disabling conditions. And then, of course, we look forward to the electromagnetic compatibility presentation later on in the year. So hopefully I'll have a much better presentation of what the talks are. But don't forget, on October 2nd, if anyone is around, if you feel like joining us over at the AT&T Science and Technology Innovation Center, please join us for IEEE Day. From 12 to 2, we'll have students, so it'll be lunch with leaders and luminaries. And if you're available, you can provide your headshot and resume, and we can introduce you to the students, and we'll have a chance to mingle with the students and provide some mentorship to high school seniors and juniors who are looking at STEM as a career path. And then from 2 to 4, the grown-ups will be touring the museum and having cake and talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of all things to advance technology for humanity. So I thank you very much for considering joining us that day. Is Victor here? I haven't seen him. Is Victor here? Victor?
No, I don't think so.
I apologize. So you're stuck with me, I'm sorry to say. but that's okay, right? So a little bit about the Taenzer. John C. Taenzer left an endowment to help provide programs to help people with disabling conditions locally and globally. And then we are expanding our site efforts and our standards efforts, as well as our Computer Society podcast efforts, to pull the full complement of diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion together. And today, now, without any further delay, I'd like to introduce Professor Razik Yaqub. This event is brought to you by the Humanitarian Technologies Board and Site Taenzer Grant Program, made possible by the John C. Taenzer Memorial Fund of the IEEE Foundation. The program focuses on empowering technologists around the globe to advance assistive technologies and technological solutions for persons with disabilities and their communities, and supporting engineers in low-resource countries. Together with IEEE SA-DITA, we present on the 12th of September at 7:30 Eastern Daylight Time, a Taenzer webinar with Professor Dr. Razik Yaqub. This event is supported by Women in Engineering, the Computer Society of Diversity and Inclusion Leaders and Luminaries podcast, Standards Association Dignity, Inclusion, Identity, Trust, and Agency, Transparent Design for Wellbeing and Accessibility and Technology Workflow, and the New Jersey Coast section is Instrumentation and Measurements Computer Joint Chapter, as well as the Women in Engineering Affinity Group. We have many statistics we can share with you, but I think we all want to get to this presentation. And Dr. Razik, would you like to share your slides?
Sure. Could you allow me to share the slides?
Yes. Yeah. Are you able to share now?
Yes, just a second. Okay, can you see my slide?
Most of us can. Some of us can't.
Yeah, I understand. So the agenda of my today's talk is that basically I will discuss the students' projects that I supervised and mentored in the year 2022 and 2023, and the projects that we are planning to perform in the year 2023 and 2024. So there were two projects that we did and made prototypes in 2022-2023. When I say 2022-2023 means the academic year, which includes spring of last year and fall of this year. And when I say 2023-2024, it is starting from fall of this year and the spring of next year. So the two projects that we did in the last academic year are proactive PTSD detection device, and the second project is speech-enabled gear shifting for Handcycles.
Excuse me, Doctor, may I interrupt you for a moment? Can you please explain to people what PTSD is?
Yeah, I'm going to explain in the next slide. So let's start our presentation with thanks to Dr. Kit. Thank you very much, Dr. Kit, for giving me the opportunity to present this project, these projects that were actually conducted by students under my supervision. And I think these are very exciting. These were actually sponsored by a company called BAE Systems. They provided financial assistance to conduct or perform these projects. So thank you very much again, Dr. Kit. And let's go to the first topic, which is proactive PTSD detection. PTSD is basically a disorder that veterans normally have. And this disorder is that when they return from the war or from unpleasant situations, they kind of keep thinking about those events that happened, that tragic events that happened, and then there is a kind of episode that they just start crying, or they just get stressed. So that situation is called the PTSD episode, where they are under great stressful condition. They may harm themselves. They may they may start misbehaving, or it is a disorder that is not desirable. So what we did is that what I have already done is that there is a service dog normally with the PTSD patient, and whenever this episode occurs, whenever this disorder occurs and the veteran starts becoming stressful and in a distress situation, then the service dog starts calming him, consoling him, and tries to calm him down. But once the episode starts and then the dog starts consoling him, it's not a good idea because the episode has already occurred. So what we did is that we want to avoid this episode to occur. So we want this service dog to proactively start interacting with the patient even before the episode occurs, so that the episode does not occur at all. So what we do is that we actually devised an AI-based approach to proactively alert the service dog. So basically, we designed a Fitbit kind of band, which is worn by a PTSD patient. And this band actually starts measuring the blood pressure, the pulse rate, and all the vital signs that we have, that the normal human has. But when the episode is to happen, these vital signs becomes abnormal because, for example, the pulse rate increases, the blood pressure increases, and so on. So we proactively, continuously measure these vital signs. And if these vital signs go beyond a certain threshold level, a signal is sent via Bluetooth to the dog's collar. And this dog collar alerts the dog, and then this dog starts playing with the PTSD patient and tries to avoid the episode to happen. So what we did was we actually purchased some sensors. For example, the one that you see in this figure that was tied to the finger. And this sensor actually measures the pulse rate, the heart rate, and it sends over the Bluetooth to the dog collar. The dog collar has some electronics in it. For example, the Arduino microprocessor. And when this collar receives the signal, it starts playing some sound which the dog has been trained on. So it is a service dog, and it has been trained before this. Before the dog understand, it has been trained by experts that if you listen this kind of voice, it means this, and if you listen this kind of voice, it means this. So this dog collar has a small speaker which generates certain frequency or generates certain voice or some voice command for the dog, which the dog understands. So once the dog receives that command, once the dog receives that frequency or the audible sound from the speaker, it understands that it is my time to console the PTSD patient and try him not getting into the episode. So we designed this collar where we had this Arduino microprocessor installed, and that would go around the dog's neck, and this thing would go in the patient's wrist. So that is the idea, and we tried that. It worked very well. The service dog was provided by the BAE system, and this dog was already trained. We provided this collar and this device, and we tested, and it worked. So this project was successfully received by the BAE system. This slide shows some codes that the students prepared. Based on this code, the device was working. This is another part of the code, and so on. So these few slides shows the code that the students created. This shows the 3D printed casing for the circuitry. So this was used to put the circuit and then put it on the dog's collar. And the similar device, the similar 3D printed casing was used for the patient's wrist. So we prepared two cases, one for dog collar and one for the patient's wrist. So the benefits of this device was that it enhances the family engagement in daily life. Device fosters community inclusion for veterans. It provides veterans with proactive dog support, and it promotes improved health and well-being during the healing. So that was the project all about. Before I switch to the next project, do you have any questions? So basically, the project produced two prototypes, one for the patient's wrist and one for the dog's collar. And the patient's wrist.
Have you seen how people are able to learn the way that the dogs are responding now? Is there a change in the way that the participants experience the dog's assistance?
Well, we provided this prototype to BAE system, and they work with another company, which is basically working with veterans directly. So we did not experiment directly with veterans, but we provided this to BAE system, and BAE system provided this to a company that directly works with veterans.
I'm very excited and happy about this project. It's something I've been wishing for a long time. I'm really very grateful to you that you brought it to our attention, that you brought it, this presentation for us tonight. How did your students feel about working on this type of project?
Oh, the students were very excited. When last year in September, when I announced these two projects to the entire class, a group of almost 20 students, and I announced that those who are interested doing these two projects, they can raise their hands and I will select them to do the project. They were very excited. So I did not pick the students. They picked the project because they were interested. They wanted to do that.
Do you think that this is the kind of project that we could teach to other participants, like other people who are involved with humanitarian technologies? Do you think this is a good project so people can learn more about working on a humanitarian project, doing this type of programming, working with sensors, understanding the use cases that are involved with people who have special needs, and has solving problems like this in a new way?
Yes, I definitely think so. And I think that way because this year, BAE system has provided us a new project, which is a kind of extension to these two projects. So since they have continued to support us, it shows that they like it and they have introduced it to the other people. And those who are related with humanitarian services, they like it and they are excited using this.
It would be really wonderful if we could put together like a tri-engineering kind of curriculum guide to teach, so teachers can teach their students how to do a project like this and, make a bill of materials or a list of, the shopping list of what is needed, and help people actually, run a workshop on things like this. Would you be able to help with that?
So it depends how much time commitment it requires. And if the time allows, sure, I will love to do that. Yeah,
Wonderful.
definitely. I would love to do
So,
that.
I have one question. So, is this PTSD only with the veterans, or is it like other people affected? And is there any other method other than using service dogs to address this condition? Like, how is it addressed currently? I'm not aware of this.
Right. So PTSD, not only veterans, I think veterans suffers the most because they, after coming from war,
War zone,
where they see people dying in front of their
Mm.
eyes,
Mm.
where they see tragic situations. So
Right.
these veterans are the most common people those experience this PTSD.
Mhm.
In normal life, if a person sees an accident or something like that, he may also have the PTSD kind of
Or, I
symptoms.
mean, like people who go through domestic violence or stuff like that. I mean, they could also
Exactly.
have this kind of
Exactly.
situations. Yeah.
Exactly.
Survivors of
Exactly.
child abuse, survivors of school
Yeah.
shootings,
Mhm.
survivors.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
one of our colleagues, Skip Rizzo, runs a program for the veterans in his in USC. He has a virtual reality environment where they do, and one of the nice things that he does, he has these like peer-to-peer therapy kinds of settings, but they do have like oversight from a computer therapist, which that's another topic, a very, very, very cool topic.
Yeah, I mean, that was what my question was, because if service dog is not available in all the situations, then the alternative option
Right.
Yeah,
to this.
I
Yeah.
think that is a very good idea,
Mhm.
that if service dog is not available, what could be the other ways? I think that is a great point, that we should not always depend on service dog. There should be some other way of
Mm.
helping the PTSD patients. And by the way, PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. So it is a stressful situation, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
Mm.
And anyone who goes through certain type of trauma, he may have PTSD.
Right. And it can interrupt
Right.
your everyday life. It can interrupt your education and your social connections with people. But what's nice about this project is that it ties the two ends together, a detection, a new way of detecting the stress conditions that people are experiencing using the heart rate monitor and some AI,
Yeah.
which we can learn more about.
Like,
And
for
then,
example, when you said using AI, then the Bluetooth signal can be sent to, let's say, a computer, and the computer starts automatically playing some kind of soothing music, or some kind of
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I proposed BA system that we can extend this project to the home audio system, the home
Yeah,
music
exactly.
system,
Right.
where there are speakers embedded in the ceiling and whatever, and the music starts playing. I think, yes, we also thought about that. But if, Nisha, if there is any other idea that comes to your mind, for example, as you said about music, other than that, if anything that comes to your mind, we would love to hear that. We
Sure.
chose service dog because service dogs are normally with the patient all the time, indoor.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
And what's really
Uh,
nice about the computer connection, Anisha, also that we've been thinking about is sometimes people who have different kinds of conditions like this might be at work or at school and they may need a break. So if this computer is getting a signal that the person is having a stressful episode, then the computer can, secretly reschedule that person to have a different agenda for their workplace or for their school. So, for example, maybe when one of these episodes is happening, maybe that employee or student can be scheduled to do some task that's not as demanding or have a particular kind of break that it's going to work well for the other colleagues and for the other students and teachers, et cetera. So the
right.
behind the scenes, the scheduler can help people to just cope with these episodes better.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hold up to move on to the
Oh, no,
next
no. I
next
think it's
part.
great.
No,
So,
you're good. You're good. Thank you very much for your ideas and sharing your thoughts. Yeah, if you have any other thought, we would definitely try to work on that as well.
sure.
Yeah. So can I go to the next one?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. So the next is speech-enabled gear shifting. And this is, the issue is that sometimes veterans are not able to drive, and they are more comfortable bike riding. And if they are riding bike, probably for hobby or for work or for anything, if they are riding the bike, sometimes shifting the gears of a bike may become a problem because their hands may become numb suddenly, or their digits, their fingers may not be functional. So they would prefer to have some sort of device that could shift the gears in the bike automatically. And again, this could be due to arthritis, due to numbness, due to fracture, due to whatever disability, right? And the person is riding and suddenly he notices that his hand is numb, or maybe he does not have his fingers or something. So what we propose is that there is a phone that is speech enabled, and it would get the command from the veteran, and the command would be gear up, gear down. With the gear up, the gear would be changed to the higher position. With gear down, the gear would be changed to the lower position. And this way, the bike will be kind of in automatic control, which is speech enabled. So that is the whole idea of this project. And what we did is that we developed a cell phone app which was capable of speech recognition and translating the words like gear up and gear down into a proper signal and sending that signal over to a gear shifter. And this is a gear shifter. And this gear shifter, according to the command, will shift up or shift down. And this way, the bike will be in the control of the veteran. So the code that they prepared for the app is on these slides, right? So this is the gear shifter. Here, the gear shifter was installed. The the phone could be in the veteran's pocket with the headphone installed in the ear, and he could speak the command in front of the headphone, which is already which are already in his or her ears, and the command would go to the cell phone would send a command here, and the gears would be shifted. So that is the whole idea of this project, and the benefits of this project are easy operation, operator and public safety, improved operators' comfort, improved efficiency, allow those with disability to enjoy their hobbies, and creates new opportunity for people with physical disabilities. And it provides better user experience. And by the way, when I said that I will discuss new project, so in the coming year, in this academic year, what we are planning to do is that controlling gears is one thing that we have already done. Now we will be controlling the brakes by speech or by automatic sensing of the barriers on the road. So we plan to have 3 sensors on the bike. So this project is for this year. The students, I have selected the group, and these students will install 3 sensors on the bike. One would be on the handle, one would be here, and one on the other side of the similar rod. And these sensors will keep sensing the obstacles in front of the bike. And if there is any hindrance, they would send the signal to the brake system. The bike will stop or whatever. And if the bike does not stop, if the sensing fails, then we have an alternate where the person would speak, brake, and the brake would be applied. So it is not just depending on the sensors and automatic braking, it would be speech enabled as well, so that if one option fails, the other kicks in. So that is the plan for the next year. Any questions on this?
I really love projects that help improve independence for people. And some of these ideas are simple enough and elegant enough to improve independence of people that otherwise these opportunities would be outside of their reach. So thank you very much for this example. Does anyone have a question? Anyone here a bicyclist? Does anyone here like to ride a bike?
Oh, it'll be fun, I have a couple of questions. This is a great project. Actually, I worked on a project so that a blind person can ride a bike around a track type of terrain, So anyway, so this is great. I want to have a couple of quick questions. So one is there a triggering way to trigger the so that it doesn't pick up any noise from around, as opposed to just like when Alexa is the triggering word for devices? Is there a triggering word by which it triggers it, or some kind of other mechanism to trigger it?
Right. Yeah, I think this is a great question, Sunish. So we did not use any triggering word in the beginning of the command, but yes, that is a great idea just to avoid the noise. What we did was that we purchased a helmet and the earphone system, and the earphones are protected by the helmet in such a way that it does not catch the outside noise.
No,
but
okay.
I think, yeah, your idea is great. For example, when we use phone, we say, "Hi, Google," and then it starts listening,
right.
or maybe some other triggering word. So
yeah.
I think in this year, we would use some triggering word, for example, "Hi, smart bike," or something like that in the beginning of the command. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Just something to trigger something unique. Yeah.
Yes,
and second question, did you test it with user participants? in real life? What was the feedback from them? Or
We did not test it with the user, but we tested in the lab, and we presented these two projects on STEM Day, and the students who presented, both the groups got first and second award, and it worked. While I mean, it works. They put the bike upside down and started pedaling it. Of course, it was upside down, the wheel was running, and when they say gear up, they could see that it changes the gear to a higher position or a lower position. Yes. Yes.
Excellent. No, great proof of concept to prototyping. And at this point, just get as much user feedback as you can locally, wherever you can find people who use this on a daily basis. Awesome.
Dinesh, actually, I would like to hear what kind of obstacle, what kind of problems you face, and we can handle those kind of issues using these kind of technology. I was working as an inventor consultant with Wells Fargo, where I proposed a technology for the blind people, how they could use the ATM machine and something like that. If you have any other problem that you feel that needs to be worked upon, please let me know, and we will make it a project for the student.
Sure, absolutely. There'll be plenty of them, and we should definitely have a discussion at some point where we could have your students develop something over one or two terms, whatever it is, but we will get it done. Which university you are issued with?
Yes, I am with Alabama A&M University. It is in Huntsville.
Huntsville?
And
Okay.
Huntsville is nowadays, from last year, it is the #1 city in United States to live.
Fantastic. No, it's a great place, Alabama, and even the one more university. I'm trying to remember which campus. It's the University of Alabama at a different campus, not Huntsville.
It is UAH, University of Alabama, Huntsville.
Okay.
UAH,
Excellent.
Yes. So both
Awesome.
the universities are in Huntsville.
Both are very good projects, and now the job is to you see, there's a great transition from when these projects are great, awesome, but when we talk to users, they said, how can I buy it? When can I buy it, right? So in India, actually, I was part of initiating a project called, it was Assistive Tech. It's called Assistive Tech Incubator, okay? And I can send you the link later on. But what we did was we not only sponsor the inventors or support them and guide them, but also we make sure that they can commercialize it, because that's when the things fall through the crack, because it's an awesome project. It impacts a lot of people. But when we ask, how can we buy it? The users, when they ask, then there is no answer, because you need a ecosystem to support manufacturing, ecosystem to support the cell, ecosystem to support any kind of support or services needed to repair or fix or do something to guide them, the users. So for that, it's good to have some kind of support system where we can do it. So think about that too.
The other thing to think about that we've been talking about quite a lot is to make sure that the reason why we are concerned about making standards for things that are accessible is because we don't want to just produce the most expensive solutions that are outside the reach of people. We want to make sure that whatever is built, it eventually, yes, that it's accessible, that it's affordable. Like, how everyone can buy a Bluetooth chip, right? So if you can buy a Bluetooth chip and then you go ahead and make a proprietary interface on top of that, that's not so helpful. But if you have always some thought in mind that whatever you're building, that it's going to have a standard version of that thing so that everyone can use it. It's interoperable. It's available to everyone. So that's sort of like that's our kind of our theme right now on what born accessible.
Very good.
Right? Yeah. So
well,
no, that's very good.
Yeah, I am on the last slide, and as I said, that we have two projects. One is now AI-assisted barrier detection and automatic braking, and the other one is also very exciting. The other one is the temperature sensors for individuals with paralysis. So if a person is paralyzed, if his hand is paralyzed, the hand is not capable of sensing, and this person may put his hand on a hot surface or a very cold surface and may get either burnt, and he would not even feel because his hand is paralyzed, or may get frostbite and he would not even feel it. So he may damage the tissues of his hand or may get injury. So what we are doing is that we will have a temperature sensors network that would keep measuring the temperature of the environment, the surrounding things, the objects. And if the temperature of anything which is surrounded by the paralysis patient goes beyond certain threshold value, then a message would be sent from the sensors to the cell phone, and the cell phone would inform the nursing station, and the nurse would be available to help this individual or try to keep him safe and prevent the problem. The second part of this would be that in case the nurse is not available, then just like a nursing station, we will have a drone station where the drone will fly to that specific room where this patient is in trouble, in problem. So right now, we do not know that what the drone would do. Maybe you can help us, but we are interested automizing even the help system. Of course, the drone can go and take the pictures and videos and send it to some place for help, but the time is essence. In that amount of time, he may get more injured, or he may suffer even more. So we plan
This is
to
an
have
excellent project, and it's not only good for people with paralysis, it's also good for people who have dementia or infants or people who have, who have some other kind of illness that could be just temporary, that maybe they're,
right.
They're unable to speak for themselves for some reason, they're on a medication or they're, temporarily infirmed, but also
Right.
for people like when if we have a very different body mass or body surface area, we can't tell that our elderly family member is suffering core body temperature loss in a cold weather or in a hot weather, an elevation of internal core body temperature. So these kinds of solutions are really widely applicable, not only to people with paralysis. I think you probably already know, I've spoken to most people on this meeting. My cousin who's paralyzed used to live here in the house with me. And I can tell you, this is a serious thing for people with paralysis, because just bathing, just, anything that's nearby that they may be ordinarily using themselves, but that it's difficult to tell if the temperature suddenly changes. These are very, very important solutions. So thank you very much for introducing this new problem domain to us. So we'll be pleased to have another meeting, I think, on this topic. Does everyone agree? Does everyone agree this is a good topic for us to schedule another meeting about?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would like to hear your feedback, your input, that if we fly a drone to the person's room, if the nurse is not available, if the drone goes, then what would drone do? We are thinking about that.
Well, when you have a person who's living, like my cousin is living in his own, subsidized federal housing now, and he only gets aides coming in a certain number of hours per day. The rest of the time he's on his own. So it is important for the drone to understand perhaps even environmental thermostat measures to see if maybe the thermostat's not working, or maybe there's some other appliance that's in the area that someone left on when they left the place. You know what I mean? These are important things. The drone could potentially look around, do surveillance, identify a thing, perhaps even deliver a message or deliver, like sometimes a drone has a package, a payload that it can deliver. These are very important things for us to, maybe it could be one of those heater things where you crush it and it becomes warm in your hands. If you have to wait for the nurse to come, maybe the drone could drop one of those things. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you're understanding what I'm saying, there are probably many ideas that the drone could help with.
Of course, safety comes first, but I mean, it's always a good idea, Professor Rafiq, to kind of go and talk to the people actually in nursing homes who operate them, who live there, and get some of their input. We had some connections here in Boston with some of the really 3-4 diverse set of nursing homes where we got excellent feedback when students at MIT wanted to explore what projects they could do, what kind of things they could develop, to get the feedback during the time of development. So students also learn how to make more user-infused project as opposed to just thinking that, yes, they will come and use it, but it's good to involve from day one, absolutely.
And
but
my
this is great.
cousin who's paralyzed
Mhm.
is an IEEE member. He's an associate member because he's been involved with site groups since the beginning. And he would be very pleased to work with you on this.
Awesome. Yeah.
And Dr. Kit and Sunish, I like your ideas. And Sunish, especially the idea that you gave about actually going to the nursing home, I think I would schedule my students to go to the nursing home and ask how drones can help. What service can drone perform to the people who are in the rooms, and the nursing aid is not available right away, then what can drone do at that time? So
Right.
I think going to the facility, asking the questions directly from the nurses would be a great addition to the project. So thank you very much. And Dr. Kit, thank you very much for your ideas as well, where you mentioned that it is not just for the paralyzed people, it could be used for several other people who has diversified needs, and maybe the drone can do the surveillance and send certain parameters which are important for the remote nurse or remote doctor. So I think these are great ideas. We will definitely implement
I think
these.
your drone is really right on for people who aren't afraid of drones, especially because now there's a lot of people have to be concerned about personal, not just personal protective, but there's infectious diseases in these group living
Remote,
environments. And so having the drone as a way to send someone in to help the patient, it really improves the reach of the staff that's there that would otherwise have to find someone to help when they have an isolated patient. So that's a really, a good opportunity.
So